And good evening and welcome to Griffith University for Tuesday night's social netball. My name's Martin Groves and joining me on the commentary table, the one and only Robin Stevenson. Good evening, Robin.
Hi, Martin. How are you tonight?
Very good, very good.
Good to see you back again.
Yes. Well, and as the teams are starting to get ready and bib up for tonight's games, we've got two games up for contention before. But firstly, looking at conditions.
Oh, look, it's about 20 degrees at the moment, I think, and predicted to get cooler as the night goes on, but not too bad of conditions for netball. It's pretty still out there, so not too windy, and it's really not that cold, so once they start running around, things will heat up pretty quickly.
I can probably say there's not even a zephyr of wind tonight. It seems that still here.
It's very still, very still.
Very still. Two games up for completion tonight. Our first game is going to be Beauty and the Beast, a team that we haven't seen on this live streaming coverage as yet, taking on the Gold Diggers.
Yeah, so it should be a good game tonight. The two teams are second and third on the ladder at the moment, so pretty close together. And obviously as we come closer towards the finals series, they'll be wanting to do everything to finish in a high position.
Time for some highlights from last week. And some great highlights there. The layup is becoming very popular, isn't it?
The layup is becoming quite popular. I think Gretel Tippett, probably one of the first people to bring it across into netball. Of course, she was a basketballer originally, so it was easy for her to carry it across. And seeing it more and more, even in the Suncorp Super Netball these days. So as with all of the professional sports stuff, it dribbles down to social competitions at some point.
Certainly, a lot of, and also we saw contact under the post there where someone actually got a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, but that was him hitting his own teammate. Purely accidentally. Yeah. Clearly, we did see the concern on his face for her.
Which highlights to me the concept of contact. Contact being, as it means, no contact. It's a non-contact sport. But we'd have to see over time that contact has sort of developed in the game.
It certainly has gotten a lot more physical as the game has progressed. The rule certainly still is very clear that there is to be no physical contact, but I think a lot of the time you can't tell who actually contacted who. It's often very mutual contact, so it's tough for umpires to call that.
And we'll find out more about contact after our first game as we see the ladder. And if we look at our first game today, we've got Beauty and the Beast taking on the Gold Diggers. The Gold Diggers in second position on 18 points. And Beauty and the Beast. So this is going to be a clash. This is going to be for a semi-final spot.
Yeah, both with 5 wins for the season so far, but Gold Diggers just ahead with the draw, whereas the Beauties and the Beasts have had 2 losses.
And our second game for tonight, we'll see Wes for Prez. It's always good to see Wes for Prez, and hopefully we'll get a chance to find out what Prez is actually running for at the end of the night. We'll try and get him into the interview box here to find out what is going on. And also they're up against Cordova Field, and we do know that we are playing on a court.
But let's look at this first game. The Gold Diggers, as we said, they're in blue bibs tonight, so they'll be... I think they played in the blue bibs last time as well, so they should be used to that. Their team captain tonight is Danny White, who is actually from England, so probably a little bit of netball pedigree there. England, of course, won the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games last year.
They certainly did, and we don't forgive them for that. The other team, of course, the Beauty and the Beast, they'll be playing in the black bibs tonight as teams are getting ready to warm up there and bibbing up, if that's a new term that I've made up for netball. Their team captain is Brenton Wagner. They're from 8 Mile Plains, and they are all actually former students. They are alumni. They have graduated here, but they've come together through the Players, Sisters and Griffith University students to enjoy a bit of Tuesday night social netball. They've been playing in this team for 5 years.
Oh, wow. Well, the Gold Diggers have played together for years. It doesn't specify how many, but says here that by process of elimination, they've whittled it down to the best players from the group they started with. So no wonder they're sitting in second on the ladder.
And I think the other thing too is the team has been playing for 5 years, the Beauty and the Beast. But there's no injuries in the team tonight. They're coming up. They've got a full team for the first time this season. And they've got a professor playing on the team. So some PhD going on tonight.
Wow, I wonder if he is the professor for any of the students and if it counts towards marks.
Well, could I say, could she be a professor? Or could the professor be a she?
Certainly could be.
We'll have to develop that through the night. But what they're here for, the Beauty and the Beasts, is fun and competition.
And I just noticed the Gold Diggers say that they're at uni more for the netball than the classes. So it sounds like they might be sports management students to me. So that's always a bit of fun.
Yes, well, you rehearsed that subject yourself.
That's exactly what I studied. That's what I studied, yeah, absolutely.
But sports management is about managing the sport, managing the people, managing the teams. And managing the social activities afterwards.
Absolutely. So the players look like they're pretty close to being ready. Umpires blowing the whistle, calling them onto court for the positions. So they'll just move to their starting positions.
And I'll be looking at Beauty and the Beast. I'll be looking for the one they call the Professor.
And we've got a rock off instead of a coin toss tonight. Decide who starts with the centre pass.
And I think it was the Beauty and the Beast who won the centre pass. Well, they've won rock scissors.
Won the rock off.
Rock off.
I think they've chosen not to take the centre pass.
They're in there. They're taking the centre pass, and it is the Beauties and the Beasts kicking off.
The teams will probably just ease into it to start the night, just warm up and get a feel for their opponents.
Some long passes to begin with into a fence by the Beauties and the Beasts at this stage. Bit of a hit and hope start to the evening, but it's only early days.
That's right. And the Gold Diggers in possession now as they transition it down the court. Some lovely passing here, nice clear open space that our players are getting into to take those passes.
And a great start for them.
They're on the board, start. Especially as they didn't have the centre pass, so certainly they have the advantage now.
It seemed obvious to me the strategy was for the Gold Diggers was to just short passes and make sure you make them get your person, your teammate, but not these long shots that the Beauty and the Beasts were attempting.
They did turn it over on stepping, but they have gotten it back now with an intercept. And the goal shooter just using her circle player to try and get a better position for herself under the post.
And that puts the Gold Diggers up 2-0 in the first couple of minutes of this first clash tonight at the Tuesday night social netball at Griffith University.
And the height in the circle certainly an advantage there for the Beauties and the Beasts, and they're on the board. So 2-1 to the Gold Diggers.
So I would assume, based on the fact that this team has been playing together for 5 years and all graduated, we've got an older team in Beauty and the Beast as opposed to the Gold Diggers. A bit more maturity there, a bit more experience.
Potentially.
Always potentially.
Another lovely shot there for the Gold Diggers, so that puts them up 3-1. Lovely passing there into the circle. Can almost reach the net without having to try too hard. He could just they pop it in, I think.
Yes, a very tall timber in the both ends of the court for a Beauty and the Beasts.
Certainly an advantage.
We'll be intrigued why they came up with the name Beauty and the Beasts, if that's something within the team. But I suppose you can be both beautiful and beastly, couldn't you?
Well, that's what they tell me. As the Gold Diggers turn it over there, so Beauty... Oh, and it's transitioned back to the Gold Diggers and straight in under the post.
It's been a great start for the Gold Diggers. Very good start. 4-2. And a couple of interceptions there, making the scoring very quick for the Gold Diggers. Time for Beauty and the Beast to come back.
Wing attack called for contact there. Your favourite netball rule.
Well, it's probably the development and how it's developed the concept of contact. When you were a young netball player, any contact was deemed illegal, whereas now we see mutual contact when we look at the top level.
Absolutely. Probably more allowable off the ball than on the ball, but then that's where the umpires are looking.
But the other thing too is the games are going quicker when we look at the Super Netball. The games are going faster and moving faster, so it's a much more physical game.
Absolutely. The physicality today, I'm not quite certain I'd keep up with it.
I'm sure you would there, Robin, but as the Gold Diggers come out of defence.
See, they generally have pretty good transitions through the mid-court, so that's the players getting out in the open, ready for the pass, making it an easy pass for the other player.
And having an understanding where they're expecting their players to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if my memory serves me right, the last time we were looking at the Gold Diggers, they came away with a loss, and I think it's Jacob there. The goal attack was actually taken back to the training facility. Wanted to get them back on the training facility and iron out a few issues.
He did indeed. He was very keen to get back on the training court. Seems to have been working for them so far.
It certainly does, as they're now 6-2 as the ball comes down to the centre for the Beasts and the Beauties. They're called really the Beauties and the Beasts, but at this stage where they're not leading, we'll call them the Beasts and the Beauties.
Okay.
We'll turn it around once they start leading.
I see another contact penalty here from the shooter, and a contact from the centre trying to come through and intercept that ball. Of course, when called for contact, you do have to stand out of play for one pass, so that frees up one of your opponents to be basically roaming in wide spaces.
And again, the Gold Diggers go into attack. Can they convert?
Unfortunately, not successful that time. Let's see if the Beauties and the Beasts can get another one on the board before the break, which must be coming up soon.
And the Beauties and the Beasts actually lost last week, so they will be wanting to redeem themselves, and that's the sort of way you're going to be able to do it, by bagging another goal.
So last week's results saw the Gold Diggers actually move up 2 places on the ladder, so I would assume before last week the Beauties and the Beasts were actually ahead on the ladder. So
they certainly were. They're actually on top of the ladder. So, yes, that's probably why they've got the full team here tonight, the full complement. They're wanting to get back and they're top of the table.
Well, it's certainly difficult if you haven't got the 7 players on court. And that's the buzzer for the quarter time break. So we go to quarter time. The Gold Diggers up by 4, 6 goals to 2. Can they bring it back?
Well, it's only early. We've got plenty of time there for plenty of play to start tonight. But yes, at this stage, I don't think the Beauty and the Beast would be happy with their first 10 minutes on court as they have their replays now. There's some of our replays from the first quarter. Some good labs there, and that tall timber, both ends.
That's
in defence and attack for the Beauties and the Beasts.
I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing from the Gold Diggers tonight. They're nice, clean passing, good use of their circle by the shooters, and I don't think they've missed. I think they may have only missed one so far.
And very short passing there, whereas the Beauty and the Beast, they started out with some long passes that didn't connect, so there was the turnovers, and that probably made that difference for the first couple of goals that they would have liked to have got on the tally board.
Absolutely. So yeah, the shorter the passes, the less likely to be intercepted. We've seen some changes here for Beauties and the Beast, so they have a new centre.
As we action is back in the second quarter. And some that's a bit of a pep talk at quarter time, I think, for Beauty and the Beast.
Beautifully done. They've also switched their shooters, so goal shooter in the first quarter has now come out into the goal attack role, so he'll be able to get his hands on the ball a bit more and do a bit more passing into the circle, which may help.
But the Gold Diggers aren't going to lie down early, are they? They are ready for the fight. As we said, we've got 2 and 3. This is 2 and 3 on the table at the moment on the ladder. And the Gold Diggers come back again.
Nice loud call there from the goal shooter to let her players know that she was open and ready for the pass. Called for holding, 3 seconds. So you do actually only have 3 seconds once you get the ball to get rid of it, basically.
It keeps the game going quickly.
Absolutely.
Action aplenty.
Unfortunately, another loose pass there from BTB.
BTB, the Beast and the Beauty at the moment, they are not that beautiful, but they will be trying to become more beautiful as the night goes on. As we're in the second quarter of our first game tonight, Griffith University Tuesday night social netball.
And if you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday evening, come down and watch it live. It's pretty good action. There's 3 courts going, so it's more than just this one game on at the same time.
And as we know with Beauty and the Beasts, by the fact that they're ex-students, they're alumni, so it doesn't mean just because you've finished studying here and coming for the academic side of the university, you can still enjoy the fun and games that happen and the social aspects of university life.
Absolutely. As the Gold Diggers bring it back down the court, once again they're nice and open, not expending too much energy in getting the ball from one end of the court to the other. Centre was just a bit slow on the pass there for the goal shooter's liking, I think.
Well, that's not what we want to see tonight from the Gold Diggers. Not on the radar, that one at all.
And a held ball on the pass in from the Beauties and the Beasts, so the Gold Diggers will pass it in. Straight back into the shooter.
And unfortunately haven't been able to convert just yet, but 3 times proves it, and that's where we're at. So fantastic for that, for the Gold Diggers. Now they're stretching their lead now, 8-3 over the Beasts and the Beauties.
Although they were called for breaking then, so you're actually not allowed to come out from behind your line before the referee blows the whistle for the centre pass. So that was a turnover, and the BTB converts, and they took advantage of that.
You're in play, you're in play!
And another breaking, this time from Beauties and the Beast. So that was a bit scrappy, both of those centre passes.
I think the excitement has got to them on this Tuesday night here at Griffith University.
Well, you do try and anticipate the referee's whistle sometimes to just get that tiny advantage over your opponent.
And we're just clarifying, we are at the Mount Gravatt campus of Griffith University. Many campuses of Griffith University, this is where the competition is held every Tuesday night.
As Gold Diggers stretch their lead out to 5 now.
They have options, the Gold Diggers, but that option didn't work that time. As the Beauties go ahead. And looks like they prefer that long pass, that quick breakaway, that long pass to the goal shooter or goal attack.
They absolutely do, but as we were saying, it's easy for that to be intercepted, so they just have to be careful with that.
They certainly do. But fortunately, it's worked for them again.
As they pull another one back, so 9-6 now, so back to 3.
One long pass was a good one, but the second one wasn't. Is the best way we can put that. It's fairly clear for you as much as it is for us as we're watching it tonight.
So there's a contact being called off the ball, so just advancing a little further down the court. Still in the hands of the Gold Diggers. Obstruction called on the wing defence. So when you are defending, you need to be a minimum of 3 feet, so 0.9 of a metre away from the person with the ball.
And the Gold Diggers, they extend their lead back to 4 points.
Shooters are very much on song tonight for the Gold Diggers.
Second time that move, and the second time, the second pass hasn't worked.
Not sure if it's coming through on the telecast, but there's some really good encouragement being called from the goalkeeper at the other end of the court, just encouraging her teammates on, and it's resulted in a goal, so well done.
And brought that gap back to 3 points.
Need an intercept or another form of turnover though.
But I think as the game is going, we can see that the Beauties and the Beasts are starting to develop their game plan. Their game plan is the long ball. When if you were the Gold Diggers, you'd be actually looking at that, thinking, how can we, I suppose, just marking up on the final pass, isn't it?
Oh, look, I think it's incumbent on the Gold Diggers. They just need to stay very close to their opponent as we see them goal shooter land one there.
Going goal for goal at the moment, which is great to see. Not so many turnovers, but this is almost a top of the table clash. 2 versus 3 at the moment.
Only another couple of weeks until the grand finals, so be very willing in netball for the next few weeks as they jockey for their final positions on the leaderboard.
The layup is very popular. I wonder if he's the professor. Where would you put your professor, in attack or defence or in the centre?
Wherever he wanted, or she.
Or she, yeah.
Loose pass there, so it's gone out of court. So the Gold Diggers will feed it back into court as they just chase the ball off court.
And just looking at the Beauties and the Beasts, looking at some of the notes I've got here to see if there's any information about what they've studied here. But no, they haven't told us anything about their past studies. Just that they've graduated, so that's a success in itself.
As we see the Gold Diggers score once more, extend their lead again. Gold Diggers here, it says they study occupational therapy. Not sure if that is the entire team or just the captain. That certainly would probably come in handy for post-match recovery sessions, I would think.
Certainly would, yes.
And that's half-time here in the first game tonight at Griffith University Social Netball.
And the Gold Diggers leading the Beauty and the Beast 13-10 in another great game of Tuesday night social netball. We are at Mount Gravatt campus of Griffith University for Tuesday night social netball. My name's Martin Groves. This is Robin Stevenson. Half time in the first game, and the Beauties and the Beasts, well, they're not lining up tonight, are they?
I think they'd be happier with that second quarter, though. Probably, whilst they're still trailing, that second quarter was certainly much better for them. As we hear the buzzer go in the background to signal the teams back onto court. I can see a few bib swaps going on over there with both teams, so we'll see how they line up in this third quarter and see if the Beauties and the Beasts can peg it back a little bit.
It looks like, looking at the Gold Diggers there, they've got someone there with strategy with their coach. Is it possible to have a coach at this level? But looking at the team changes, as it's the Gold Diggers out of the centre.
Of course, the teams do change ends every quarter in netball.
Scramble for the ball comes out for the Beauties and the Beasts. And that was that 3-foot rule, I gather, you were talking about before?
3 feet, yeah. You need to be 3 feet away before you can put your hands up to defend. We see the Gold Diggers have a new goal shooter. So Jacob's still there in goal attack, but the goal shooter from the first half has moved down to the defensive end. So she's playing in goal defence. If she's as good in goal defence as she is shooting, I think the Beauty and the Beast are in for a very long night.
They're keeping that 3-goal difference. Gold Diggers 14, the Beauty and the Beasts 11. As the Gold Diggers take the ball out of the centre, but it's turned over. But that long pass is just letting them down over and over again tonight, Beauty and the Beasts.
Yeah, they really do need to be looking for opportunities to break away from their defending opponent, get open and closer to the player with the ball.
And I think that's what the Gold Diggers are doing very well tonight.
And their new goal shooter just as accurate as the previous goal shooter, so they haven't lost anything there.
That's it. Just rebound now, guys.
Some great understanding there with Beauty and the Beasts. And brings the gap back to 3.
The Gold Diggers can afford to just, you know, take their time, use up the clock.
Which they certainly haven't been doing. They've been racing along. That was such a quick point. Quick goal there, and just 3 quick passes, and presto, you got another one on the board.
Rebound again. That's it.
Unfortunately, some of these are just not dropping for BTB tonight, as that one does go in. They do need to get some turnovers, though, fairly quickly if they're any chance of bringing this back.
They certainly are, because unfortunately for the Gold Diggers that time they weren't able to capitalise, but they have been that quick short passing through the and there you go, there's another classic example of that long passes not working for Beauty and the Beasts, as the Gold Diggers take advantage of that interception. Just when we thought the Beauty and the Beasts were coming back.
There's still time, there's still time.
Great pass, great pass.
So the call that time was shortening in defence, so she started out the 3 feet away and then fell in.
There's a bit of a wry smile over there for goal attack that finally dropped after the 3rd time. He was given a lot of latitude. And this is what you're saying here. This is where Beauty and the Beasts need to make a change. They need to make an interception and force the turnover.
They really are in there trying, but it's just not going their way at the moment. They're exerting some pretty good defensive pressure, but it's not going their way for now.
And the Gold Diggers' goal attack is, I'd like to see his percentage at the moment, because it's well over 80%, I would say. And if you've just joined us, we're in the 3rd quarter of our first game tonight at Griffith University Tuesday night social netball.
We've got the Gold Diggers in the blue bibs and Beauties and the Beasts in the black bibs.
And at this stage, these two teams are 2nd and 3rd on the ladder, with the Beauty and the Beast in 2nd position, Gold Diggers in 3rd. So a very tight clash at the moment, and no love lost on the court.
So the centre did have a fall, but she certainly looks to be okay now. So. Had a look out, decided to go in. So.
He's having a great night tonight, our goal attack for the Gold Diggers. That long pass worked fine for the Beauties and the Beasts, and converts. Maybe she's the professor.
Maybe. But the Gold Diggers are coming straight back again. Unusual long pass from the Gold Diggers on that occasion. But a lovely short pass across in the circle, and the goal shooter makes sure of it on the 2nd attempt. And the lead extends to 5 goals. There's a slight bit of a breeze starts to blow into the courts here this evening, as my paper just blows. So if you see a bit of paper blowing across the court in a minute, it's mine. As the BTB does secure another goal. The ball comes flying onto the court from the next court. didn't interrupt play though.
Hold. Oh, good try.
Valiant defence there from Beauties and the Beast. Almost didn't pay off for them, but they did get it back in the end.
They really, unfortunately, she wasn't able to gather that back in before it went out. So turnover.
Quick break then from the Gold Diggers, wasn't it? And they've really capitalised on that. 6-point lead now, 21 to 15, deep in the third quarter.
I think that's been the biggest lead of the night. The Beauties and the Beasts are really just rushing their passes. They can afford to take a bit more time. 3 seconds sounds quick. It's not as quick as it sounds.
You do have a lot of time, yes. Although we're not in the hot throng of the game. And it drops. They really needed to see that. 5 points in it now. But they are relentless, the Gold Diggers.
Yep, they're not letting up at all with the pressure. They really want this win. I think they really want a gun for the top spot on the ladder.
Well, there's still only 1 point, I think, between, my memory serves to be correctly, there was only 1 point between first and second.
Absolutely.
So it's a very tight table. I will be interested to see when we get to see the ladder again, to see what it's going to be like fighting for those semi-final spots. Is there a semi-final or is it just finals, do you think? We shall find out in the coming weeks.
Final as who to go, so 3/4 time. I think the Gold Diggers are looking pretty comfortable. It will take some effort for the Beauties and the Beasts to turn this around, I think, in the final quarter, but I'm sure that they will be in there fighting as we look at the replay of some action from the third quarter.
Coming back for the fourth quarter of our first game between the Gold Diggers and Beauty and the Beast. The Gold Diggers leading comfortably at the moment. But do you think they can come back, the Beauty and the Beast? I don't think they can. I'm making a call now. I don't think the Beauty and the Beast can come back in this final quarter.
Well, you know, you never say never, but I think it will take a lot for them to be able to come back and clinch this win from here. As I said, the Gold Diggers are pretty relentless. They're not letting up at all. And the Beauties and the Beasts just seem to be suffering a little bit of the scoreboard pressure. So let's see what happens.
Scoreboard pressure into the fourth quarter as the whistle blows early. And that is giving the advantage to the Gold Diggers. This is not the way the Beauty and the Beast would have liked to have started the fourth quarter. But the Gold Diggers, they're very happy with the way it started.
Just keep rolling on, don't they?
It's a 7-point lead now to the Gold Diggers.
Unfortunately, the goal defence from the Gold Digger just going offside as she passed that ball. She overbalanced. So, of course, everyone has a certain area of the court in which they can go. You cross that line and it's a turnover.
And the zones, what are the zones and what players can go where, Robin?
So the goalkeeper and goal shooter can only stay in the 1/3 at their end of the court. The wings and the goal attack and goal defence can cover the 2/3, but of course the goal attack and goal defence can also enter the shooting circle, or the D as we call it, and the centre can go anywhere but into the shooting circle.
Of course, I always like to call the centre the quarterback as they come into the fourth quarter. 24-17. It's a 7-point gap now. Beauties and the Beast. They're probably Beasts and the Beauties tonight.
That was a really lovely long-range shot there. Need a lot more of those.
They certainly do. 6 points the difference now as we're in the fourth quarter. Pressure really on Beauty and the Beasts.
Defence has really been the key, though. You know, scoring the goals is what's sexy, as they say, but it's defence that really wins you these matches and certainly wins you championships. So the goal diggers have been right up there with their defensive pressure as well as their open attack.
And some small technical errors tonight probably creeping into the game, which probably hasn't made it that. Beauty and the Beast, I think they'll be going back home and they'll be talking about this.
Possibly some intense training sessions over the next week.
Or maybe some highly animated reflection sessions.
But they're all still smiling out there and they look like they're having a good time. And of course that is so super important about social sport in particular, but all sport. It's all a bit of fun and that's what counts.
Certainly, fun and enjoyment is the main reason that the Beauty and the Beasts play the game. With the 6 point gap now, as they've got to bridge that 6 point gap. As temperature's slightly dropping now, it's gone down to 19 degrees on this pleasant Tuesday night.
You wouldn't want to be anywhere else, would you?
No, not at all. Let's start a list. No, I wouldn't be. It's great to be here. It's great to see the social environment of this and also being involved with the outside broadcast unit here at Griffith University, providing this great coverage.
As that height and long arm certainly comes into play once again. So they've got one back.
This is an opportunity to bring it back to 4, and they've done it. Am I going to have to eat my words from the break-in play for this second and third quarter?
If they can get a turnover here, it will certainly be game on to the end of this match. I think goal diggers are probably experienced enough to just keep it calm and take their time. Great reactions from the goal diggers centre to pick that one up.
Keeping her eyes on the prize. So that lead back to 5 here in the fourth quarter of our first game tonight between the Beauty and the Beasts and the Gold Diggers. Second versus third. As unfortunate that, will it finally drop? No, it will not drop. Will they get 4? They will get 4 times. 4 times proves it, I think. Bit of a wry smile from the...
You could see the frustration before that final shot. It just did not want to go in. A stepping call there. So that's a turnover.
I would say with not having an idea of what time's on the clock at the moment, they will need to make sure they convert with this drive down the court. And they have done that.
And they have. Just made sure before he took that shot that he wasn't too close to going out of court.
Yes. Here we go. A little bit of support coming from the other players, as you can hear.
Here we go. We're back to only 2 goals. Certainly a turnover here would make it very, very interesting. But,
I'm starting to eat my words, I think.
I think the clock might beat them, no? Can't be much time left.
Bit of noise from the Beauty and the Beast, the support team. The rest of the team are here.
They just need to be careful they don't get too excited and throw it away. So they still have the ball.
Unfortunately, that is not what they need to do. They need to convert on that one. I think time will run out.
I think it will.
But I have been wrong before, especially in commentary.
Oh, another turnover. We're back to 1, and I think they do have the centre pass, so they could actually tie this up if their passes are accurate and quick. And that was not what they wanted, as Gold Diggers will get the pass in.
This is a critical goal.
Call for stepping there, so fortunately he lifted and re-grounded his landing foot, so.
And there's the 3 seconds again. That was good D by the Gold Diggers.
Very good D.
Putting pressure on. And the Beauties and the Beasts are coming back down the court. Oh. And there you have it, all tied up.
All tied up. No, I'm not sure how much time there is left on the clock, but they want to be right on the defense now. They've done a lot of hard work to get it back to this position.
This is critical time now, isn't it? Gold Diggers back in front by 1.
BTB did not want that at all.
No, that's not the... But I think the other thing too is we can say for BTB, those long passes sometimes been working, but they probably do need to review their long passing game.
As the buzzer goes in the background, so Gold Diggers take it out. 27-26, a lot closer in the end than we thought it would be. I think Beauties and the Beasts can be pretty happy with that last quarter, so but I'm sure they'll be disappointed still.
Certainly will be. It's time for a bit of a replay from the first game.
And what a great first game we saw tonight, Martin. It was especially that final quarter. It was very, very close.
Certainly, I'd written the Beauties and the Beast off, and well, they came back. They did very well, only to be go down by the 1 point. So I think that will put the Gold Diggers into second position on the ladder after tonight's games. But we have one more game up for decision: court or a field.
Definitely a court.
And court and a field, I think if we look at the bottom of the table. Believe through this fantastic amount of information we've got that you will get the chance to interview Wes after the game. Win, lose or draw, find out what he's running for in terms of Wes for Pres.
Might be dependent on the final result as to whether he'll want to talk to us tonight. But as I say, Wes for Pres is playing in red and yellow bibs tonight. Their team captain is in fact not Wes. It is Ben. Ben is a full-time engineer from QUT, so a bit of cross-university rivalry here tonight. Wes for Pres are formed as a church group, so they will go to church together. And their best player, Claire, however, broken ankle. They've had another broken ankle on the team and an injured back, so they certainly have had a tough old time of it this season.
Court or a field, though, will be in the blue bibs tonight. Their team captain is Hannah. They're from Brisbane. They're studying business and psychology, or the psychology of business. They played touch football together before, so they thought they would then come to move on to netball. But have they played football before? Some have played football. Some have played football, but they've all played netball in club, school, or representative level.
Wow.
And there's no injuries, but Francesca is sick. So, Francesca, if you are at home watching this broadcast tonight, I hope you get well soon. They do it for social fun, and I've also got a line here that I'm not sure who Lawrence is out of the Is It a Quarter of Field, but he dislikes broccoli.
He's probably not alone there.
He wouldn't be the only one, and I suppose if he didn't like Brussels sprouts, there's probably a lot more people putting their hands up tonight for this, as the officials are going through the previous game. There seems to be a bit of conjecture there with the Beauty and the Beast discussing that with the court umpire there.
Yeah, it's not quite sure what the issue is, but certainly the court manager has been called into the discussion with the umpires and with the team captain, so they may have lodged a protest, I'm not sure.
Well, it's tight at the top, and that's what they're looking at tonight. As we can see there's Wes for Pres, looking pretty relaxed and comfortable.
Yeah. So Wes is apparently their star shooter on the team, so no pressure on Wes, but he has been called out for being the star shooter.
And I think, if I remember correctly, in the ladder they were about midfield, and is quarter of field probably on the bottom end of the table. So I think we should see if Wes can actually take advantage of his goal shooting skills and put Wes for Pres in front and put themselves in for a run in for the semis or finals.
As we see the rock off for the centre pass, and it looks like is it a court or is it a field has won?
Well, I suppose it's a little bit better than the cricket bat they've been using in the bash, haven't they? The cricket bat without
the hills are flat,
without a
with neither a hill or a hill on it, neither side.
Anyway, game is about to begin. Is it a court in the field in the blue, and Wes for Pres in the red and yellow.
And an early turnover here, so Wes for Pres have the ball as they transition it through the mid-court. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold on to it there.
And just looking at the acronym there for the scoreboard on the screen, ISAC, so I don't think you're even a field anymore. Is it a court is basically all they are now. They've decided that.
Twitter character limit may have come into play here with the graphics tonight. There's only so much room on the screen. Been a little bit of a scrappy opener. Both teams are having some handling issues, a couple of turnovers. Still waiting for someone to get on the board.
We'll just have a quick check on the weather here to see if we've got a drop in temperature at all. No, it's still remaining 19 degrees, but this is the time of night where it will drop a little bit quicker.
There is a little bit of wind around now, so it wasn't earlier in the night. Not too bad still, but just starting to pick up a little.
We have had a little gusts or very, very minor breezes across the court, but very comfortable conditions here for Tuesday night. It's just as we speak, the wind starts to pick up, but I don't think it'll have any effect on the game.
As we see another turnover and another turnover. So still nothing on the scoreboard for either team.
The courts are coming back. The court's in blue. Fortunate error there for the Prez. Well, Wes hasn't started out that well tonight, has he? Is there a gun shooter? Gets another chance.
And he gets the scoreboard started. So 1-0 to Wes for Prez, and they do have this centre pass as well. So playing with an advantage from the first goal.
Very stoic look on his face after that goal. I think he was happy to see the ball drop finally, as maybe he's in for a run now. He's a little bit off his length at the moment, but goal attack supporting him quite nicely.
Both teams just feeling their way into this game. Hopefully they all settle soon and make sure of those passes.
Great attempt there of the intercept, but unfortunately wasn't able to control the ball.
So court shooters having just a few problems to start the night, but I'm sure that they'll find their range pretty soon.
Well, I think that was in the first game we covered tonight. It was just a little bit quiet to begin with, but once they warmed up, and it said 19 degrees. This is the coolest night we've had since we've been covering the netball out here at Griffith University, the Mount Gravatt campus.
As Wes lands another one to take the team ahead 2-0. 3-0, sorry.
Damage contact center.
Yes.
Once again, like all the other weeks, the umpires are right onto any stepping, even if it's just a slight movement of the foot. They're right onto it. They're not missing a trick.
So once you've caught the ball and stopped, you cannot make any movement whatsoever.
Oh, not strictly. So it's based on your landing foot. It's often why we try to coach players to land with both feet, because that then gives them a bit of leeway if they do need to find some balance. So your landing foot, you can lift it after you've landed, but you're not allowed to put it back down again, or you'll be called for stepping. So if you move your landing foot, that's when you'll get called for stepping.
So and this is where the layups come into the game.
It's where the layups come in, but also the flamingo in the shooting. Sometimes if they're shooting off one foot, it's usually because they've lifted their landing foot, and so they can't put that back down. So they'll shoot just from one leg.
Back up. Throw in.
So turnover after turnover after turnover at the moment.
Scrappy old start to this game.
But I think part of the turnover is the pressure both teams are putting on each other.
Absolutely.
And as they continue down Westwood, Prez an opportunity, but another good intercept by, and again, the turnover on turnover. So, as Wayne Bennett would say, ball security.
There you go. That's good.
Don't know if he's coached too much netball in his time, Uncle Wayne, but certainly he has a lot of good things to say that anyone could take on board.
I think that's the other thing with any great coach. When you think of some of our netball coaches and our football coaches and coaches of all sports, the times they get together and share ideas and look at ways that they can, I suppose, improve their own teams by working with other teams. When we look at some of the sports, the spatial awareness of netball, Australian rules, hockey, field hockey is another one, soccer.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's a really great thing in Australian sport that the different codes will come together and share ideas, and they're not too hyper protective. So as we just see some more turnovers as Westford Pres try to get this through the mid-court again, so still on 3-0.
And when you think also for Westford Pres, they've had a couple of attacks, a couple of their chances, they haven't been able to convert. So they could be a lot further ahead. But they are actually, their defence in terms of the is it a court, they are really hassling the is it a court.
Absolutely, but you can't fault anyone's effort tonight either. They're all in there fighting for every single ball, so which is great to see.
And Wells, a big smile on Wes's face there. Look, finally dropped for him. Lucky number 4 for Wes. As right on quarter time.
Quarter time. So Westford Pres up 4-0. Not a very high scoring quarter. Bit messy that one. But not really sure what we're going to see on the replay from that quarter. So, but we will go to some of the action from the first quarter.
Back here at Griffith University at the Mount Gravatt campus for Tuesday night social netball. And of course we are always looking for good time Gary the Gorilla, who doesn't seem to have made an appearance again tonight, but we're always looking for Gary, and if he's not here he may be at the uni bar at the moment.
Possibly. Might be hibernating. We're in
no, he's a gorilla, not a bear.
We are still in the bushland, so he could be just watching from within the trees there. So, but this is of course our second game this evening. So Westford Pres are up 4-0 at quarter time. As we said, it's not a very high scoring game thus far. It's been a bit scrappy, lots of turnovers on both sides, not some great ball handling, but I do see that both teams have made a few positional switches coming back for the second quarter, so we'll see if that makes a difference.
Certainly, as you can see with some of the footage here that's being broadcast streaming live through YouTube, you can see there's 3 games on at the moment for this competition, so lots of action on here tonight on a Tuesday night. And great to see the fun and enjoyment that everyone's getting out of it.
Absolutely, lots of smiles, lots of laughter, really good camaraderie between the teams.
And look, I hope for that grand final night here we get a bit of a crowd so they get into it and cheer on their respective teams.
Of course, grand final night being the 4th of June. Put it in your diaries.
If you can't be here, make sure you watch the live stream.
And we're underway in the second quarter. Westford Pres in the red and yellow bibs tonight. And is it a quarter, is it a field in the blue bibs?
And that's what is a court needed to do. They needed to score, and they have. So that puts them on the board 4-1 to Westford Pres.
Oh, intercept from the centre pass there. So that was really lovely work from the goal defence.
Great anticipation, reading the game. Short-lived though, as is it a quarter going forward.
Contact call on the goal shooter there. So as we've said, no physical contact strictly allowed in netball, but they do get away with a little bit from time to time. As we see the flamingo come out, unfortunately not successful on either occasion that time.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see that that style of shooting developed in the years to come here at Griffith University. It may be a trait just for the Tuesday night social competition. Yes, there's the 3. I picked that one. That's the 3-second rule. Yes.
Sure is the 3-second rule. He had no options there. All of his teammates were being pretty heavily defended.
He was isolated, I think is the term.
He really was. A couple of nice pirouettes in there though, looking for someone to pass it to. Of course, in netball you can actually pass it in any direction, so forwards, backwards, sideways. The one thing is though, you cannot pass it over a third. So if you are in the goal third, it must be touched at least once in the centre third before it gets down to the other goal third.
Now Wes will be happy about his first foray to the post in the second quarter because 1 from 1.
I suspect he's not happy about the turnover there though from his teammates. So caught back with the ball in their goal circle.
And the goal scorer for the is it a court, trying very hard to make something happen at the moment. Some of those long shots.
Not sure that he's quite in sync with the rest of his teammates though. Mixed netball, like any mixed team sports, can always be very interesting, the dynamic between the male and female players. Sometimes the men can overpower things a little bit. But none of these girls are taking a backward step tonight, which is good to see.
And sometimes the men don't have the subtleties of the game down as the women do. But then I recently saw National Wheelchair Basketball, the league, the men's league, and saw some of the women playing in there, and they really didn't take a backward step.
They don't at all.
But back to the netball tonight, as Wes for Prez go forward, but unfortunately that final pass didn't make it, but back and forth, turnover on turnover, keeping this a very low scoring game tonight.
Low scoring, yes, but I still think pretty entertaining as Wes lands another one, living up to his moniker as the team's star shooter.
Yes, he's Wes's pearly whites as he breaks into a wry grin after his second goal tonight in the second quarter.
Not sure if you can hear the umpires' calls coming through on the stream, but you may from time to time hear them say advantage obstruction. So that just means that they do note the obstruction, but they feel it's more of an advantage to the attacking team that the ball stays in play and not brought back for the penalty pass.
And that's something in Australian sport we see a lot more, the playing of advantage, and which is any athlete who's played the game. Sometimes you think you've been held up by the officials and you go, oh.
It's nothing worse when you're on a roll and they call you back halfway down the court. Not a lot of communication going on out on the court from either team at the moment, so I think I'd like to hear a bit more talk on the court.
I think from our previous game, especially in the last quarter, there was a lot more talk, and that's when we saw the Beauties and the Beasts come back.
Absolutely.
And almost take that game, almost come out to a draw. Because they were well behind at one stage, 6 points down, but 6 goals down, but turned it around just to be that 1 goal loss. So Wes for Prez go forward, but there has been contact made. So
let's see if Visitor Court can actually take advantage and convert this one.
and after the first game tonight, where I'd actually written off the Beauties and the Beasts quite early, they showed that they can come back. So I should refrain from saying that Visitor Court can't make the grade.
Never say never.
We'll see if they can prove me wrong at the moment as Wes for Prez move forward. And a hand in there from Wes for Prez, so the ball will come back to the Visitor Court.
And we see the height advantage that the goalkeeper has there. Definitely has it over both of the shooting players in that goal circle. So a massive advantage for the Wes for Prez team there.
And look, I'd have to say if we look at both teams in this second game, there's probably the first game is a lot taller timber in there.
Absolutely, on both teams. But there still has to be a place for the those of shorter stature.
Yes,
like myself.
And usually you took out the wing spots in the centres, didn't you?
I did, but I don't think I'd be tall enough to play even there these days. They're all certainly very tall in the professional netball ranks anyway. But you know, I mainly played for fun.
As these are doing tonight, everyone's playing for fun, and it's great to see the fun they are having, and of course just the benefits, health benefits of getting out there and having a run around for 40 minutes.
Absolutely, and you know, sport is a really, really important part of university life, so just gets you out, gives you a bit of a study break, helps you reset mentally, and of course just make some friends as well that you often keep then for life.
Yes, well, I'm sure there's been quite a lot of relationships have started at university through things like the social sports.
Absolutely. As we see the goalkeeper coming through again to intercept, but turned over immediately.
And not. I think the goal attack on that one should be looking at what was I looking at?
Still haven't found their radar, unfortunately, the shooters for the court. As we hear the half-time hooter go in the background. 8-1.
Where's
As
Surprise?
I said, never say never, but might be a long way back for is it a court or is it a field tonight?
Where's for Prez are 1 and is it a court or a field are on 1.
As we look at the replay from the second quarter. And we're back here live, so it's half time at the second game tonight at Griffith University. Tuesday night mixed netball, social competition, and it's Wes for Prez leading, is it a court or is it a field, 8-1.
And as we can see there, is it a court in the field, making some changes, a bit of re-bibbing.
The bib swap.
The bib swap. I'm not sure that's a technical term that would happen, but it doesn't look like there's much change in Wes for Prez in terms of there doesn't seem to be much change in the bibs there.
No, I think there's been one change, but nothing significant. There's certainly a lot more changes from is it a court, and we'll see if that makes a difference in their second half. As I say never. It is 7 goals that they do have to claw back, but there's still plenty of time.
Yes, well, I don't think the gap was that big in our first game tonight. So, Robin, if you can prove me wrong and bring home we can bring home is it a court or a field after being 7 points down at half time, it will be a magnificent game.
There's underway again.
Because I think they were a bit flummoxed and they weren't sure which way they were going. But I digress. And that's not the start, is it, a court really we're looking for?
No, they really weren't. They need to get some turnovers and they need to convert every shooting opportunity they have if they're any chance of bringing this back.
And the other thing, as you said, late in that second quarter, communication is a big one. We're not hearing much at the moment. We'd like to hear a bit more noise on the court.
That's right.
Not whether it is a court or a field, but how much noise there is on that, how much the communication is going. And what are you telling your mates? Where should you be?
Or just encouraging them.
But I think the Islip Court really are suffering from the lack of tall timber in their goal shooter and goal attack.
They have tried to address that, so they do have a new, taller goal shooter in the circle.
But they definitely don't have the same height advantage as Wes for Prez do, because even their centre, Wes for Prez, is a bit of tall timber there.
Pretty tall.
Not making those final passes to keep maintaining possession. West for Prez seem to have options when they're coming down the court.
They really do. They seem to be able to get away from their defending opponent with a little bit more ease than the courts are doing so far tonight. I think that was just a little bit of fatigue there from the goal attack, but fortunately it came off the Wes for Prez keeper on its way out of court. So, and once again, so they do keep possession. See if they can get a clean pass into a shooter to convert.
And that's that pressure Wes for Prez are putting on the opposition is it a court. And here we go again. That pressure has paid off and they're going down court again.
Stepping call there on the wing attack. Good defence once again from the goalkeeper, so playing a really vital role, the goalkeeper, getting those turnovers in the goal circle. That's really helpful to the team.
I'm not sure what that was meant to be, but he's having a lot of fun, isn't he? A goal attack there for, is it a court or a field?
Another stepping call there in the goal circle, so a turnover. And again, the goalkeeper takes that intercept, that height advantage that he has.
Which is maintaining the low scoring of this game.
Absolutely.
That's a little bit more interaction between the players on the court. And Wes will be happy about that one. Will he flash his smiling white teeth again?
There
Yes, there they
yeah.
go. That's all we want to see. We're just waiting out for Wes's shiny white teeth to come out after every goal. No gnashing of teeth, hopefully.
They just do not want to fall tonight for Is It a Court? As we see a second ball come onto the court from next door.
Well, I think if they are to fall, they need to be closer to the centre of the basket, don't they?
Yeah, temptation though is to just take a bit of a step back and then try and get away from the defenders, particularly when they've got those nice long arms as the goalkeeper does.
Unfortunately, they Court just can't seem to get close enough to the post to make those shots. The goalkeeper for West for Prez done a fantastic game tonight. I mean, as much as the goal scorer is and the goal shooter, of course, the goal shooter is the main person. Defence is a huge thing, and the goalkeeper is doing a great thing for West for Prez.
Absolutely, and we've actually seen in the Super Netball and also for the Diamonds over the past few years, there's been some really good goalkeepers come to the fore. Quite well known goalkeepers, particularly for Australia over the past few years. Referee just calls the penalty there for stepping, I think.
Come on, I need to bring the Court back in. I need to see a few more goals for Court. Oh, a great pass, great
just a
strategy.
Fumble there. Unfortunately, no goal.
There's a few right smiles under the post there from quarter of field.
Wasn't actually his ball to be taking in the first place. So here we go. They have another opportunity. Can they actually get a clean pass into the circle?
That goalkeeper doing an excellent job tonight. Excellent job for West for Prez.
Go gadget arms.
Well, I don't think he has, but he's just tall. I think in the draft next year for this Court, we'll be looking for taller timber in the draft. Not that I'm sure there would be much of a draft here at Griffith University in the bar.
Well, you just never know what goes on in the uni bar.
You could solicit for some taller timber for next year's team.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if Lawrence ate a bit more broccoli, they might might find some height there. I don't know.
Yeah. Of course, we said earlier when we were doing the team lineups that one of the notes we got was Lawrence hates broccoli for the quarter of field. Yeah, not the only one, but the other thing is harden up, Lawrence. Come on.
There are worse things to eat than broccoli.
There certainly is. You've got to eat your vegetables, Lawrence, and that would maybe be the call for the rest of the game. As West for Prez are extending their lead 10-1 now in the third quarter. Does the mercy rule come into netball?
There is no mercy rule in netball, no.
And at a social level, we never want to see that because it'll just stop the actual athletic ability and the activity and the benefits of. I'm wondering if the goalkeeper for West for Prez actually comes from a netballing family, whether he's got some family who play, because he's very skilled in his positioning.
He certainly is. So he's got a lot of subtlety and nuance to his game.
Or either that, he's an Aussie rules player and just knows how to shoulder up, I suppose.
Hasn't been overly physical, so but certainly really good positioning, knows anticipation as well. Both teams just looking a little bit flat at the moment. deep into the third quarter of this game as the West Prez goal attack, and there's a lovely smile from her as well, and they extend their lead to 10.
A 10-point lead here, so and great interception.
They're not going to rest on their laurels with the 10-point lead. They want to keep going for it, keeping up the pressure both in attack and defence. So not showing any mercy.
And we'll
tonight.
also find out probably by the end of the game, maybe more next week for the stats, whether it makes any difference on the for and against. But that's the end of the third quarter. Westford Press are 11. Is it a court or a field? A 1. It's a 10-point difference. And Robin?
I think you might be able to call it this time.
I think
very long way back. Is
yes.
it a court now in one quarter? So, but still a low-scoring game. But let's look at a replay from some of the highlights from that third quarter.
So we're returning for the final quarter of our second game tonight between Westford Prez and Is It a Quarter of Field? Presently, Westford Prez 11, Quarter of Field 1.
I'd really like to see Quarter of Field get off 1.
Certainly so. Yeah.
You know, it'd just be really lovely, and I think that there will actually be a pretty big cheer if they do manage to find that currently elusive second goal as the teams take the court again.
And the temperature hasn't dropped that much. It's still just a balmy 19 degrees. Balmy. I think balmy is the way we can look at it. Balmy 19 degrees. And actually that breeze that we did see coming in the first half of this game has dropped off as well, as we're ready for our fourth quarter.
Good to see there's still a lot of smiles going on as both teams come back out for this last quarter tonight.
Yes, well, I'm cheering for Is It a Court? Come on, guys. Come on. Let's do something here.
Always love an underdog.
Is this the turning point? Is this the turn for Is It a Court? Can they take it from here? They've gone for the long passing, which really didn't work for the Beauty and the Beast in our first game. So I have to say the short, precise passing is what makes it work.
As Westford Prez take it back down the court. Some nice crisp short passing as you were just discussing. The final pass, however, going astray, and the court's just called for stepping, I think. Oh no. Westford Prez wing attack called for contact. Needed to be a bit quicker getting that pass into the goal circle then.
And I think with that tall timber in the goal defence for Westford Prez, they need to be just moving a little bit further away when those passes are coming in. They need to be doing something to I suppose, put him off his spot. But he is commanding that area, and he's in defence. He's keeping the goal scorer and the goal shooter and goal attack well away from the post. And again, it's a good thing he can't play goal shooter and goal defence, isn't it?
I think that goal shooter's doing all right.
Well, you know, we can't take Wes away from the goal shooter. As the court comes back.
Yeah, the goalkeeper there for Westford Prez just covers so much of the court with long legs, long arms. Just seems to be everywhere right now in that circle.
Hot on his toes too. He's very mobile and has a bit of height to him when he needs to leap too.
as they extend the lead now, 12-1.
I missed the pearly whites there of Wes that time. Didn't seem to show much emotion. They need to get closer. Oh, this is an opportunity. And yes, the goal attack. He hangs his head. Come on, give us a bit of a smile there. Yeah, there it is. the pearly whites have come out. So, and there's clapping from the supporters there. As I think is it a quarter? They scored their first goal in the second quarter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they were 4-0 down after the first quarter.
Yeah, so it's been a long night for them. You know, I think they'd really love to keep it within the 10-point margin in the final score, but I think it should be the next goal for them. There's always, you know, set little goals. There's always something you can do, you can aim for.
And is this their third? It could be. We'll have another chance. And yes, it is their third.
They're on a roll. The comeback starts.
Come back. With just, 5 minutes left in the final quarter, I would say. We are in the fourth quarter of our second game tonight for coverage here at Griffith University, the Mount Gravatt campus of Tuesday night social netball.
Some great quick passing there from Wes for Prez, and he converts to take advantage of that.
Flash him for us, Wes. Give us the pearly whites. No, he's fairly controlled. Again, quickly into attack, Wes for Prez. And they've converted there, so a bit of a smile from goal attack. We don't see her grinning too much. Controlled and
generally pretty focused.
Incredibly focused. Again, goalkeeper just manages to destroy the attack from the, is it a court? He has just destroyed them tonight.
I think I'd be prepared to give him the player of the match if we were awarding such things tonight.
Oh, very much so, the MVP. Very much so. But also would have to say the centre for Wes for Prez is very good at connecting from defence into attack and bringing the ball down. We had just a lot of turnovers in this game, and that's a bit of contact there.
Bit of contact. Accidental, of course.
Yes.
Eyes for the ball only.
Certainly.
No harm done, and there was smiles all round. Lovely pass there from the goal attack. Unfortunately, the shooter can't convert.
So as I said, the centre there just making sure that continuity between the back of the field, the back of the court to the front of the court.
He did nearly take the umpire out. Of course, that's not what you want to do. And of course, we do have to give a shout out to all the umpires here tonight and at all the sports competitions. Of course, could not go ahead without the umpires. It's not the most prestigious job. It's pretty thankless usually, but they're doing a great job and they're right onto everything and they're making sure everyone's still enjoying the game.
We do encourage officials and volunteers in Australian sport at all levels, from school sport all the way through to your senior sport, your community sport. If it wasn't for those people that put in the hard yards. And
it is actually Volunteer Recognition Week this week in Australia, so shout out to all the volunteers around the country in whatever capacity. Doing a great job.
And keep up the good work as the centre again is controlling play for Wes for Prez as they come down. There's 11-point margin and great defence there from the court. Is it a court?
Yeah.
But again, back again. Oh, then we have...
Have we had a falcon?
Yes, the happy smiling falcon of the centre there.
No harm done.
Yes. Use your hands, not your head.
Friendly fire as well.
It's not being a goal shooter. It'd be very hard with that when you're shorter and that hand in front there to time it.
Absolutely.
To time that so that they didn't interfere with your shooting, but also having to get around them. 11 points the difference late in the fourth quarter. I don't think they can come back.
I don't think we're going to see the comeback tonight, unfortunately, though this has, once again, it's been their best quarter, the final quarter, saving the best to last.
Yes, they've managed to put on 2 goals. As it looks like the team mascot's also arrived. That isn't good time, Gary the Gorilla.
No.
Who I'm looking for.
I wonder if he knows where Gary's hiding out, though.
Well, maybe that's why they've come, to try and find Gary the good time Gorilla. Come on, Wes, smile for us.
As we see another goal there from Wes for Prez as they extend the lead out to 15-3. And that's the full-time buzzer.
That
so
certainly is the full-time buzzer.
15-3.
So a great win for Wes for Prez over, is it a court or a field? Any highlights, and would we give that to the goal keeper for the MVP, the goalkeeper?
I think MVP from that game. He's certainly got. I think you're right. He's probably got some netball pedigree as we look at the highlights from that final quarter. We're back, just waiting for Wes to come and join us tonight for a post-match interview. So Wes for Prez won that quite convincingly tonight, 15-3 in the end. So I think, is it a court or is it a field? Wouldn't be overly happy with that result, but I think they still left the court with some smiles on their faces. So I think they had a really good time. As we're joined by Wes, the star shooter for Wes for Prez. How are you, Wes?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, the most important question we've been waiting for a couple of weeks to ask you, what is it that you're running for president of?
Oh, that's a good question. Obviously not Australia, because Australia's a federation. Maybe when Australia becomes a republic, I'll go for president.
First president, that'd be great. So how do you feel about that match tonight?
It was pretty good. I mean, we've certainly improved. I think our team formed. Some of our players are fairly old players, and some of them, like me, I just started last season. So, yeah.
So why netball?
Because my girlfriend's doing it.
Ah, awesome. That's a good reason.
Yeah.
And your goalkeeper there tonight, he had a really great game. Does he have any netball pedigree to speak of?
Oh, I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure on the story, but I think he does. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was pretty
quite good.
Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So coming into this weekend, you're sitting 5th on the table, so just shy of the semi-final
that's
spot.
good.
So aspirations, obviously, to make the finals.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last season we didn't do so well, so yeah.
Okay, so improvement's always good. And how's the study going?
The study's good. I'm actually not a Griffith student. Confession time. I'm a QUT student, and before that I was a UQ student.
Oh, wow. So you've mixed it up across all the universities.
Yes, I have.
So.
Yeah. I like to keep it mixed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Wes.
No
we'll
worries.
let you get back to it. So well done on your game.
Cheers.
Thank you. And I'll just bring Martin back in to wrap things up, but I hope you enjoyed both of the games that we've brought you tonight here from Griffith University. Tuesday night mixed netball social competition. Martin, your thoughts on the night?
Oh, look, another fantastic night, and thanks to the team around us that have made it fantastic. And finally, we found out what Wes Perez is running for, which I think has been the question on everybody's lips over the last few weeks of our broadcast. But it's been a great night, another great night.
Another great night. Absolutely. And we'll look forward to being here and doing it all again next week.
Certainly will, as conditions here are fantastic. Hope you had a great night. We'll see you next week.